In this video, we're going to use the cash flow worksheet to figure out the Macaulay duration of a sequence of cash flows. So in this case, we've got an investment that pays $1,000 at the end of the first year, $3,000 at the end of the third year, and $5,000 at the end of the fifth year. Now, remembering how we calculate Macaulay duration, we use the times to weight the present value of each cash flow for our numerator, and then divide by the present value of the cash flows. So in this case, we have 1 times 1,000V, because we have that 1,000 occurring at time 1. 3 times 3,000V cubed, because we've got that cash flow occurring at time 3, and then likewise for the one occurring at time 5. And then again, the denominator here is just the present value of the cash flows. All right. However, even though the denominator is the present value of the cash flows, we can think of the numerator also as a present value of cash flows, right? If we just did the multiplication, we can think of this as 1,000 at time 1, 9,000 at time 3, and 25,000 at time 5. Thinking of it that way, we can use the cash flow worksheet to figure out the present value of those quote-unquote cash flows for the numerator and then one for the denominator by using the net present value function on the calculator. So let's do that. Let's go into your cash flow worksheet. If you want to make sure everything's cleared out, you can do second and clear work down at the bottom. That'll clear everything out of the worksheet. All right, this is your cash flow at time 0. There isn't one in this case. Scroll down. We have 1,000 at time 1. So the 1,000, I hit enter. Remember, for our worksheet, we want to hit enter to make sure the values are in there. Scroll down. It has a frequency of 1 time, so don't need to change anything there. Cash flow at time 2 is 0. Now, this would be where the calculator would be telling the calculator to end if you leave this frequency at 0, but we want to keep going, so I'm going to put a frequency of 1. So a cash flow of 0 at time 2, 1 time. Okay. Cash flow 3 will be 9,000. Scroll down, frequency 1. Cash flow at time 4 is 0. We want that 1 time. At time 5, we've got 25,000. And we want that 1 time. All right, so now we can calculate the net present value. Click net present value. It wants the interest rate, the effective interest rate for the periods between each cash flow. We have a 6% annual effective, so we're going to put 6 in for that interest rate. Scroll down to net present value and hit compute. It tells us that the net present value of that case is $27,181 and change. So this is going to be the value for the numerator. So I'm going to hit clear. Keeps the number there. It just gets me out of the worksheet. And I'm going to store this value. So I'm going to store it in number 1 so I can recall it later. All right. So now let's go back into the cash flow worksheet. You could clear everything out. I'm just going to go ahead and just edit it because I have everything where I need it to be. I just need to change a couple of values. Cash flow at time 1 is still 1,000. There's still not a cash flow at time 2. I need to change the cash flow at time 3 to 3,000. And I need to change the cash flow at time 5 to 5,000. Okay, and I can go back and scroll through and make sure I've got everything right. So here's cash flow at time 0, time 1, time 2, time 3, time 4, and finally time 5. Everything looks good. Go back over to net present value. It still has 6 saved in there for the interest rate we typed in before. Scroll down and now hit compute. There's our net present value, $71.98. That's actually the present value of the cash flows in this case. All right, so now we just need to divide the two values. Probably the easiest way to do that in this case is to clear out of the worksheet, keep the number. Let's flip it over and multiply it by the value we stored in number 1. So let's hit recall 1, and we get a Macaulay duration of 3.776.